The following is a story that explores the college careers of two former basketball players from Sacred Heart University.
Growing up, I pretty much played any sport there was.
Ryan Lickey was very gifted athletically and had a wonderful basketball career at Sacred Heart. Academically, Lickey struggled taking a lackadaisical approach to his education. Steve Cesuri, on the other hand, understood the importance of his education and has had a successful transition from college athlete to business professional.
Your degree is the most important thing you can get.
Ryan and Steve were once two of the over 380,000 college athletes that compete yearly in the United States. For many of these athletes, the hope to make it professionally is very real. So real that it may cause them to take their academics lightly, as Ryan did. For popular sports like basketball and football, less than 2% will make it out of college into the pros. For a sport like baseball, about 9.4% will make it professionally. The story of Ryan and Steve can be seen in most college athletes. This is their story. All Division I student athletes begin their road to collegiate athletics by meeting eligibility requirements set by the National Collegiate Athletic Association, or NCAA.
For a high school student in Division I, you have to complete 16 core classes, what we call. They're math, science, English, social science, and you have to have a minimum GPA of a 2.0, and you also need to have taken the SATs or the ACTs. For Sacred Heart in particular, you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA, and you have to pass 12 credits per semester in order to maintain your eligibility. Most student athletes don't leave a university going into a professional sports arena, so you ultimately want them to have a degree to succeed in something else other than sports.
Coming into college, my probably main goal was obviously athletics. Was wanting to just be like the best basketball player I could be, and then the close second was going to class and getting good grades.
Ryan Lickey was a member of the Sacred Heart University Pioneers basketball team from 2007 to 2011. Ryan did not take a serious approach to his education like many collegiate athletes, and is currently still working towards a degree which should have been completed 2 years ago.
I saw Ryan first in his junior year in high school. I got a call from his high school coach, who's a good friend of mine, Ken Smith, and he said that he had a player that we should come take a look at. And when I first saw him, I knew right away that he had a chance to play at our level. He had a really good career. Judging by his numbers, his stats, he ended up his senior year averaging 13 points a game, and he scored over 1,000 points. So that's a pretty good career.
Basketball and baseball, I definitely did think I could play, and I was good at them. Baseball was probably the one sport I actually thought I was going to be professional. Then basketball took over, and I became better at basketball.
Steve Cesuri had a different approach when it came to his education. Steve has always felt that his education was more important than his love for sports. After a successful basketball career from 2008 to 2012 as point guard for the Sacred Heart Pioneers, Steve went on to become a financial rep for Northwestern Mutual.
My goal when I stepped on campus was to graduate in 4 years, because I knew that it was, for especially athletes, it was a tough thing to do, let alone for anyone really, let alone athletes.
I first heard of Steve the summer before his senior year. I saw him play at an AAU event at the University of Massachusetts. And that was the first time I saw him play. And, we thought he was a solid player. I came back to Coach Pike and let him know what I thought. And, a month or two later, he offered him a scholarship. He was a great teammate. He was a valuable member of our program in our university. And we're very proud that he is a Sacred Heart alum.
I realized how important getting a degree was when I was a sophomore in college. I just got by. Basketball was my passion, and my goal was to play in college. But school was secondary until my sophomore year.
It is very common for college athletes at all levels to place their sport before their education.
And even though we're a small Division I school, there are student athletes on this level who put basketball before their academics, and that's unfortunate.
When you talk about professional athletics, especially in basketball, people usually think the NBA. Now, there are many, many professional leagues. The odds of one of our players, or any player for that matter, playing in the NBA is very, very slim. As far as playing in Europe, I would say 30 to 40% of our players play overseas. Even the players at the highest level that play professionally overseas or all over the world or play in the NBA, we're looking at a career of about 5 years or less on average, which really tells you how important a degree is. Because even if you are fortunate enough to be a professional athlete, we try to stress the importance of a degree because at age 30, now it's time to start your second career. And having your degree gives you many more options.
I never dreamt of playing professional, either baseball or basketball. It was really never a goal of mine. Probably college was the goal. When I was little, I always, my dad was in business when I was young, and he always came home in a suit. So that's what, probably when I was about 10, that was something I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do in business, but I always thought wearing a suit was cool, and it meant you accomplished something, you're important. So that's probably the biggest reason I wanted to get into business.
The athletes who are looking they have the NBA dream, and a lot of them place their basketball in front of their academics.
Sacred Heart, like most Division I colleges, has an academic center to help student athletes with their education.
The primary role of academic support services here at Sacred Heart is to provide support to our student athletes who have such a challenging schedule and workload with practice, game time, and of course a full workload of courses. Our job is to provide tutors if student athletes might be falling behind in some classes, to really be a secondary set of eyes to their academic advisor to monitor and birdwatch their grades and their progress and make sure that they are progressing and doing better from first semester freshman year on.
One resource provided by the Academic Support Center is guidance counseling.
The main struggle I think that a lot of kids, particularly athletes, have when they get to college is there's this tug of war between academics, very important, and athletics, very important. For those who do have difficulties, I'm available to help them with tutoring. I'm a very good NAG. I'm very good at helping students realize their potential off the court. The coaches are good at doing that on the court, but I think that I'm able to encourage them to find their best academic self, which is the whole reason they're in college to begin with.
One of the most difficult times for collegiate athletes is during the transition from high school to college.
The biggest transition for most student athletes and students in general is when you're in college, you have so much free time. And it's very important that you have some discipline to put time aside to do your schoolwork.
The transition from high school to college, basketball-wise, was tough.
Physically, mentally, it's just draining. The season's a lot longer. You play a lot more games. I mean, you only practice 2 hours a day in high school. I mean, this was like a 5-hour-a-day thing, basically like a day job.
For academics, that took a while. Freshman year was tough, very, very hard.
Going to class was very hard to do after going to practices and, having the team lifts and stuff like that because you're so tired from all that. You're like, I don't want to go to class now for another 2 hours and just be sitting there. I'm going to be falling asleep. It's very easy to just not go to class. Very easy to not go to class.
Another tool available to student athletes through the Academic Center is a small study area located in the main athletic center on campus.
One of the resources we have through our office is a study hall area. It's an area for them to get away, near practice and close to practice and their locker room. It's a good place for them to try to turn their grades around and study.
I have study hall hours, which are mandatory by our coach for everybody on our team, no matter what your GPA is. Coming up here at the Pitt Center, it's a good area. It's nice and quiet. It's close to having practice. Whether I got to run to practice, down to class, it's just a good place to really sit down and get a lot of your schoolwork done.
Right now in study hall, I'm working on a paper. It's for one of my exercise science classes. I usually study at night. I study better at night. But you always want to be in the gym because you love athletics and you love the sport you play for.
In order to help athletes with time management, some coaches require team study halls for their players.
Each semester, everyone that has a GPA below 3.0 is required to go to a minimum of 8 study hall hours a week. The lacrosse team specifically has tried to get our GPA up over the past year, so we also made it mandatory an extra 2 hours that the whole team has to go to on Sundays. That's really been paying off. In addition to that, we always have tutors in every single subject at all of our study halls, and they help out with a lot of stuff. And a lot of the older guys help out with the younger guys because they've been through it before. They can help with things like time management, preparation for tests and papers, and just kind of what teachers, players should be taking that will help them accommodate with their lacrosse schedule.
It's really important for students to embrace a great career and to be here for those reasons predominantly. Sometimes it's really hard for the athletes to try to achieve both.
Both Ryan and Steve found themselves struggling academically during their time in college.
My educational struggles were definitely going to class. As we said before, you don't have someone there with you all the time, so you don't have your mom driving you to school, making you go to class, making you do all this. So I think that was definitely the hardest part.
My first 2 years were terrible. I struggled my freshman year, and then sophomore year got a little better. I started taking business classes, so I was a little more interested. And then really my junior year is when I started to get it. I was in classes that I enjoyed, that were interesting to me, and from there on, I think I was above a 3.0.
While Steve was able to improve each year academically and obtain his degree, Ryan struggled throughout his career because he did not take his academics seriously, and this has caused a delay in the completion of his degree.
Academically, things I would do different would be just getting serious. You need your degree now to have like a career in any corporate situation you're in. And I see that now at UPS. I couldn't move further into like a full-time position because I'm still just a part-time supervisor. So I wouldn't be able to move up without that degree. And I realize that now. That's why I'm going back to school to finish my degree, because I want it and I want to be successful.
So I'm a financial representative, and what that is I'm in the financial services industry. We deal with risk management, insurance, investments. Right now, I'm part of a team, and I'm part of a team full of veteran reps and specialists dealing in all of those areas. And I go out and see people and try to help as many people as I can, obtain financial security for themselves and their families. College education has been probably the biggest part of why I'm doing so well in this job. It's set me up to succeed, really. It's given me all the tools I've needed, whether it be speaking in public, being organized, dealing with the finances, different financial products, whether it's investments, insurances, and just really setting me up to be professional. So far, it's going well. No complaints.
While Ryan sends a message of the importance of effort, Steve sends one of reality for most college athletes.
Your degree is the most important thing you get, because you can play professionally, but you can't play that forever. So you're going to need to work sometime.